Hello everybody. Today we're going to be talking about tokenization. If you haven't heard that word before, it's just a fancy name for stripping out things that you don't want. So in other words, in my file names containing, you can separate them in a multitude of ways. Well, the most common is the comma. So in other words, in this case, I have the example move and MP3. You want to keep the period, but if you separate them with a comma, you don't want to take the comma back to the program and act like it's part of what you're searching for, if that makes sense. So in other words, you're not looking for a .mov comma period MP3. You want to separate those two. And that's essentially what I'm going to do and show you today using File Snatch. So let's get out of that. And you're going to see this is pretty much it for what I'm trying to do. You don't need anything special. In fact, if you're not new to C#, it's pretty much identical to WinForms and WPF. So let's take a look. The first thing I do is I create an array that has all the special characters. So if you look at these characters, which are all in single quotes, they are characters that you pretty much can't use in a file name. So I figured, well, that's also what might be most likely they use to separate the file names. And so I make an array of them right away. Then what I do is I go to that text box. So if I go over here, let me scroll down. This text box is what I'm going to be looking at. In my case, I wanted to keep it generic, so whatever text box that I'm accessing through the program, I can do the same operation on, independent of where it is on the GUI. And what you'll see, the biggest thing here to look at, granted we're going to do an array, but we're going to use this thing called dot split. When you do a dot split, what you're doing is you're taking a long string and breaking up according to a certain type of character. Now, a lot of times people use just a space. So in other words, if I said, how are you doing? It will take the spaces between how and R and U and doing. It'll take them out, but it'll also create 4 words in an array. In this case, though, what we're doing is we're taking that delim that we created up here, just the line before, and we are going to separate all the words based on that. And that's legit. You can do that on any one of those. So it's anytime it runs across one of those, it's automatically going to separate it and then make it into its own string. So now if I go back to let's go take a look at that .move MP3. Those 2 words will be separated into their own strings in an array. And then, since you don't know the length of that array, or you don't know that a length of array because it can be anything based on user input, I'm going to do a for statement from 1 or 0 to that length. So every word gets evaluated. And then I do a trim. Now, trim can be redundant because you could actually put the delimiter of a single space in there. I just trim the spaces at the end in case somebody hit the space bar one too many times. I also have a quick check. This box checks, which I will go through on another video, is looking at GUI check marks and radio buttons. Really all this is doing is taking this and making everything uppercase so it gets evaluated appropriately. And then I have a little catch to give me an error in case anybody gets into trouble. So you can always send that to my website or to my Facebook's page and say, hey, I got something called a token error. Well, this last bit will let me figure out where the error is actually occurring. So a simple few lines, but it's very actually robust. Give it a try, and if you have any questions, go ahead and put those in the comments. Thanks. Hey, if you like this video, please hit the like and subscribe button to our channel. This would help us out greatly. If you'd like to support us in other ways, our app is available for purchase at digitaltumult.com or the Microsoft Store. See the links below. We appreciate your support. Thanks.